So you're buying a home. That's huge. But as you get closer to closing, you're going to see a line item called per diem interest on your documents. It can look a little confusing, but don't you worry. We're going to break down exactly what it is and how it works right now. Just picture it. You've found the one, the perfect home. The excitement is off the charts. You walk into the closing, and there it is, this mountain of paperwork. You start signing, but after a few pages, your eyes just start to glaze over at all the different terms and fees. And then you see it, a line item for per diem interest. And you're probably thinking, what in the world is that? And more importantly, why do I have to pay for it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out together. Okay, let's put on our detective hats and solve this closing cost mystery. Our number one clue is this term, per diem interest. First things first, let's figure out what it actually means. First off, per diem is really just a fancy Latin phrase that means per day. So per diem interest is literally the interest you pay per day on your new mortgage. Basically, it's there to cover that little gap of days between when you close on the house and the end of that first month. So why is there a gap in the first place? Well, think about it like this. Your very first full mortgage payment isn't due right away. It's almost always scheduled for the first of the month after you close. So let's say you close on June 20th. Your first big mortgage payment isn't actually due until August 1st. But what about all those days you own the home in June? And that's exactly where per diem interest swoops in. The logic is actually super simple. 1, you start owing interest the second that house becomes yours. And 2, this fee just pays for that interest for the specific number of days from your closing date until the month is over. It makes sure you're only paying for exactly how long you've had the loan in that first partial month. All right, so now we get the why. Let's get into the how. The calculation might seem a little intimidating, but I promise you it's actually just a simple 3-step process. Let's walk right through it. To figure this whole thing out, we only need a couple of basic formulas. The first one helps us get that daily interest number, and the second one uses that to find the total amount you'll owe at closing. Let me show you the game plan. And here it is, our game plan, broken down into 3 easy-peasy steps. Step 1, we're going to figure out the daily interest. Step 2, we'll count up the number of days we need to cover. And then step 3, we just multiply them together to get the final number. That's it. Okay, you ready to see how this all works in the real world? Let's plug in some numbers and see it in action. All right, so let's take a look at our example here. We've got a home loan for $215,200. The interest rate is a nice round 6%, and our closing date is June 20th. Our mission is to find out how much per diem interest is due. Okay, first up, step 1, we need that daily interest rate. So you take your total loan amount, that's $215,200, and multiply it by your interest rate, which is 0.06. That gives you the annual interest, but we need the daily rate, right? So we just divide that big number by 365. And boom, there it is, $35.37. Now for step 2, counting the days. This is the part where people sometimes trip up, so listen close. We need to count all the days left in the month, starting from our closing date of June 20th. And the golden rule here is you have to include the closing day in your count. That's super important. So let's do it. We start at June 20th and count all the way to the end of the month, June 30th. Don't forget the 20th itself. So that's the 20th, 21st, 22nd, you get the idea. If you do that, you get a grand total of 11 days. See, not so bad. And now, this is the home stretch. Step 3, we just put it all together. We take our daily interest of $35.37 and we multiply it by the 11 days we just counted. That gives us our final answer, $389.13. And there you have it. Mystery solved. Okay, so we've crunched the numbers, which is great, but so what? Why does this little number actually matter to you, the home buyer? In this last part, let's talk about how this knowledge really gives you more control. This is the real game changer, the big takeaway. The day you choose to close has a direct impact on your wallet. If you close early in the month, say on the 5th, you've got a lot more days to cover, right? That means you've got to bring more cash to the closing table. But if you can push that closing to the end of the month, say the 28th, you'll owe way less. Look, at the end of the day, knowing how this works gives you power. It takes per diem interest from being some random mystery fee and turns it into a cost you can actually predict. This means you can plan your finances better so you don't get hit with any last-minute surprises at the closing table. And that's really all there is to it. Per diem interest? That's not so scary now, is it? You are totally equipped to handle this part of the process with confidence. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you know exactly how it's calculated, what will you be looking for at your own closing?